If you had to guess when humans first started kicking a ball around and screaming about it, what would you say? A few hundred years ago? Maybe 1,000? Try 4,000. And that is just the ones we know about. Let us start with the oldest version of football that has actual documented evidence, and it comes from somewhere that might surprise you: China. Around the 3rd century BCE, during the Warring States period, Chinese soldiers were playing a game called Kuju. The name translates literally as kickball. It involved a leather ball stuffed with feathers or animal hair, a silk net goal stretched between bamboo poles, and enough competitive fire that the military had to issue actual bans on playing it because soldiers were skipping training. This is the game FIFA officially recognizes as the earliest known form of football. The rules included referees, captains, and equal team sizes. A poet from the Han Dynasty wrote a description of the game that reads almost like a modern match report. Kuju eventually became so popular at the imperial court that professional clubs formed with coaches and sponsors, centuries before anyone invented the concept of a transfer fee. The Romans had their own version, which they called harpastum. Adapted from a Greek game called episkyros, harpastum involved a small, hard ball and two teams trying to keep possession while the other side tried to take it. No goals, no silk nets, just controlled chaos, ideal for military training. Roman legions carried it across Europe. 1,000 years later, medieval England produced mob football, entire villages against each other, any number of players, virtually no rules, the goal sometimes a mile apart in two different towns, played through streets, fields, rivers, and in at least one documented case, directly through a church. The Pope officially condemned it. It kept being played. Across those same centuries, Japan developed something entirely different: Kemari. Played in a circle under cherry trees in imperial gardens, Kemari had no opponents, no goals, no winners, and no losers. The only objective was to keep the ball airborne, together. Players wore elaborate silk court robes and were expected to express appreciation when a teammate made a beautiful touch. Medieval Europe was playing football through church windows. Japan was playing football as a meditation on harmony. Both called it sport. Now, what if the oldest ball game with a dedicated court, standardized rules, and permanent stone infrastructure was not invented in China, Greece, or Rome, but in Mesoamerica over 3,500 years ago? The Olmec civilization, and later the Maya and Aztec, played a game now known as Pok-a-Tok. The ball was solid natural rubber, extraordinary given that Europe would not figure out how to process rubber for another 3 millennia, and weighed between 2 and 4 kilograms. Players were not permitted to use their hands or feet, only hips, thighs, and forearms. The goal was to pass the ball through a vertical stone ring mounted several meters up on a stone wall, barely wider than the ball itself. Archaeologists have found over 1,500 ball courts across Mesoamerica. Matches could last days. A single score could end the game entirely. And the stakes, historians still debate this, were occasionally fatal. Carvings on court walls clearly showed decapitations connected to the outcome. Whether it was the winner or the loser who faced sacrifice remains genuinely unclear. Either way, nobody was arguing with the referee. Meanwhile, in ancient Ireland, a game was already so embedded in the culture that it appears in mythological texts dated to 1272 BC. Heroes in Irish epic poetry settle disputes with hurling matches before anyone draws a sword. Hurling uses a curved wooden stick called a hurley to strike a small leather ball called a sleater. You can hit it along the ground, launch it through the air, catch it briefly in your hand, or carry it while the opposing team actively discourages all of the above. It is ferociously fast, intensely physical, and has a skill ceiling that remains genuinely extreme. It has never stopped being played. Today, it is still the national sport of Ireland, drawing enormous crowds, essentially the same game those mythological warriors played in fields that no longer exist. Cuju, harpastum, kamari, Pok-a-Tok, hurling. 4,000 years of humans inventing reasons to run outside, chase something, and disagree loudly about the outcome. This weekend, billions of people will watch 22 players on a grass rectangle and feel things they cannot fully explain. They will not be thinking about Han Dynasty soldiers or Mesoamerican stone courts or Irish warriors settling arguments with a wooden stick. But that roar in the stadium, the one that seems to come from somewhere older than the stadium itself, it absolutely does.